He is the chosen one. You must see it.
I gave Qui-Gon my word.
Is he the chosen one?
He is.
And it is the Jedi who will stand in the way of peace.
It's not whether or not we fight.
It's how we choose to fight that matters.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
The Force will be with you, always.
I will not be the last Jedi.
You're listening to The World Between Worlds, a Kanan Jarrus podcast where all we do is talk about Kanan Jarrus and how he's the best Jedi. Just kidding. We're only at episode 1 and 2 of Rebels, so this is the start of Star Wars Rebels. Yeah, we literally just watched it, and we're all on a we're on a Star Wars Rebels high already.
We're all like, it's like we just watched a child being born.
This child is gonna save us.
Our breath is like taken away, and we're all. I mean, I just feel like shocked.
I regret holding back all my tears. I should have just let them out.
What you should regret is talking so much shit about Star Wars Rebels Season 1 throughout the whole podcast. That's what you should be regretting right now.
I'm like a big hypocrite.
All right, so this is the start of the story. This is episode 1 and 2 of Season 1. Spark of Rebellion is what it's called. It aired on TV, I guess it was years back. And I remember me and Keats, we watched it live when it happened. I was like...
ABC, right?
Yep, that's right. And I remember thinking like... Yeah, I really missed the boat on Clone Wars. Like, it'd be cool to watch Rebels from the beginning. Saw it, and I was like, that was fine. And now watching it, and especially watching it the way that we've been watching it, as, you know, both at the tail end of this whole prequel story, and then also this is like the whole beginning of something new. This was awesome. Everyone is on a Star Wars Rebels high right now. The story starts on the brand new planet of Lothal, sort of...
Ice cream cone infested planet.
It's like a bazaar. Like it's got
there's the city, and there's like the metropolitan area, but then there's the whole market area, and then out in the distance are like the wheat fields, and that's where we find Ezra.
Such a fucking cool planet.
There we find our new hero, Ezra Bridger, in his makeshift home, tower out in the middle of nowhere. What's the tower? What's he doing there? How long has he been living there? Ezra sees the appearance of an Imperial Star Destroyer above Lothal, and he goes, time to go cause trouble. And this is how our new hero's journey begins.
Hey, Mr. Asperiogan.
Move along, Lothrat.
Sorry, not looking for trouble. But it sure is a way of finding me.
All officers to the main square. This is a code red emergency.
It's your lucky day, Lothal scum. You two, come with us.
Stay on alert. Repeat, this is a code red.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Wait, what are you doing?
Hey, the kid's gotta eat.
He's like using the Empire as a means to feed himself by helping those around him.
Yeah, he's like helping people in a small way because like...
But also helping himself.
But also helping himself.
He's doing whatever he can to survive.
Like the guy gives him like one fruit after he helps him get his fruit
Boys
back.
gotta eat.
If you want to meet cool and interesting people that become your family, just go rob a grocery store.
And off of Solo, like, I mean, it's very similar setup. Like, just the character, he's literally also orphaned and also just living by himself in, like, a metropolitan area, or an urban area, rather, and just,
he's a normal person.
Yeah.
He's a normal person. He hates the Empire. He's better than normal because he's, you know, competent and daring, and he's, like, just pulling, like, little tricks on the street. And when I first saw him, I was like, oh, he's the rebel. But then when you see what the rebels actually are, like this is the beginning of rebellion. Just these like tiny little small acts, but it's not like he's doing it to like save the universe, the galaxy.
Just doing it to do what they can.
Yeah,
like they're working
just-
within their means. I found it interesting that later in the episode, the Empire sort of recognizes that as well. Like Agent Callus, one of the villains throughout the show, says directly,
The Imperial Security Bureau pays attention to patterns. When the Empire's operations are targeted on an ongoing basis, it could signify something more than the theft of a few crates. It could signify the spark of rebellion.
even the smallest antagonism towards the Empire can develop into rebellion, and that's dangerous, and that's worth them sending all these people out to try and stop.
And one thing I have to give it credit for is it starts and it's already so loud in the Empire, and it's harsh. The music's so loud, and then it cuts to those TIE fighters, and it's so loud. But then it knows when to drop back and be quiet, and then just let the image speak for itself.
And I think just what I loved about Solo, you really got the sense of yes, this is what the universe is like when the Empire is taking over. This is what people's lives are like living with this just super aggressive, corrupt police force, and how fucked it all is. But then also this is how people live within that context and pursue the good.
Yeah, I guess this is also really rewarding in the sense that Solo featured a lot of unsavory characters that were kind of out for themselves and that didn't want to be a part of, resisting against the Empire. And now here we get the opposite side of that, characters in a very, a similar situation overall and the broad strokes, but are have a totally different way of dealing with that.
Who wants free grub?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I didn't do anything.
Tarkin Town. I forgot about that.
Oh my God,
that was really
so
cool.
Good. And it was also such another good moment of character development where you see this character be like,
I didn't
wow,
do anything.
this is what's possible for my life. I don't have to just be stealing for myself. I just fell in love with all of their characters right away.
Okay, so let's talk about the other characters. So right off the bat, once Ezra goes into town, gets into a little trouble with some Imperials, we got introduced to Kanan, Sabine, and Zeb. And Kanan, immediately, we know something's going on because the Force theme plays and Ezra looks across the village and locks eyes, or just misses locking eyes with Kanan, who also is feels a strong connection to this person.
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe, but I guess my mind didn't go there immediately. It was more, and maybe I think that's just effective storytelling. Because I was just that's strange. Wonder what that is. Okay, gonna keep going. Maybe it's this. But then I didn't know that they were gonna be Jedis, so I was oh, maybe it's a non-Jedi storyline, and they are just normal people rebelling. And I was kind of excited for that.
But now you can have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
at first
the best
I was
of both worlds.
do I want them to, for just a split second, I was do I want them to be Jedis? Because to me that makes a statement that in order to do amazing, miraculous things that rebel and save the universe, you have to be special and unique and not just normal. But I think that with the way that they told it, they show how you can just be normal, but if you're tapped into the Force that's in every living thing and in every person, and anyone can be tapped into that, you don't need to be special, then this is what can happen to you. You can be a part of something greater than yourself. So I felt it wasn't contradictory. Is Hera a Jedi also?
You'll just have to see.
And they're together. He's a Jedi and they have a relationship. That's cool. That's cool. That's so cool.
I thought they were more ambiguous with Kanan and Hera's relationship, and throughout the show they are. But it starts off with
love.
she says love, hey love,
Right
what's
away.
up? And I was oh fuck, we're already
We just never caught it.
Yeah, well, we were just not paying attention
And
5 years ago.
I loved their relationship already. Told me I would.
Yeah, I was just
already am
there's
yes.
Yeah, finally
prequels is all wistful, forlorn longing for each other, and then this, and I was
For fantasies of each other.
Yeah, and then I was Jessica, I promise you, we will get a real relationship soon, and it's Kanan and Hera have a really excellent communication and just really viable
Respect.
relationship and respect for each other. Yeah. I guess let's talk about Hera as much as we can in this. We don't get too much insight into all the characters. Kanan obviously has the big reveal that he's a Jedi, but Hera is the pilot. She's super skilled. She's super intuitive, and she is she's
a good person.
Yeah,
a really good person.
She's the one even more so than Kanan, because Kanan's approach to like dealing with Ezra is like, let me back off and see what he does. But meanwhile, Hera, like in the critical moment, halfway through the 2-part episode where Ezra like has to go and save everyone, and he doesn't want to because he's scared. Hera's the one that's nourishing him and pushing him like, listen, I know you can do this because I've seen you operate this before, and also these people need you, and I know you there's a part of you that wants to help these people.
Which was such a good, believable scene, like how he reacted to that situation.
Yeah, definitely.
And it was just the little bit of just the small scene that you need to really buy into his character development of like how he gets from point A to point B.
You need to board the transport and warn them.
What? Why don't you do it?
I need to be ready to take off or none of us stands a chance.
No way. Why would I risk my life for a bunch of strangers?
Because Kanan risked his for you. If all you do is fight for your own life, then your life is worth nothing. They need you, Ezra. They need you right now.
And I just feel like you love his character so much more because you see him move past that fear and like, why would you do this? Why would you live this kind of life? And that's such a good message for kids to have, that like if you're in a shitty situation like this, like you can't just survive, like you can't just perpetuate your own life. You need to join a movement. And he just goes for it. Yeah. And she's like a motherly figure without being like pigeonholed.
Yeah.
She like takes him under her wing, like in a really beautiful, non-cliched way.
Yeah, I agree. Or just like the idea of Hera being overbearing. Like Hera's just cool. Like Hera's like dream mom. She's just like,
she's like a good person.
Yeah, good person.
The character transformation is just like, that is so graceful. What was I saying wasn't graceful before?
Oh, L3.
There are a lot of things in Star Wars.
Sure, a lot of things aren't graceful. Yeah.
But like this spark of rebellion compared to so much of the other material that we've watched, just like the writing of the characters and what directions that they go in is just like, I hate using the word because I feel like I use it too much, but it really is just like so nuanced. Like you get to see like his reaction and him like isolate himself from the rest of the group when he feels like he's not contributing.
It's very exact. It's all about the characters, and when they decide to go for action and spectacle, it gets more.
It doesn't feel like counterintuitive or like, oh great, now we have to like get this in, the action shit. Like it's like a part of the story.
It's intertwined perfectly.
Yeah, it sucks you in even more.
And there was a lot of like variety just the story went so many places in a brief amount of time. I mean, it wasn't
confusing.
It wasn't confusing, and it didn't feel like it was trying to impress you, I guess, was the big thing. It's not like, I feel like I've probably cut a lot of instances where I've talked about this in the podcast, but I feel like the pageantry of Star Wars is something that like fans enjoy, and that's something that's like probably George Lucas tried to cater to, especially in the prequels. I think pageantry, I really think that's the best way to put it, because it is just sort of like, let me show off for you all the things that you want. Like, let me, we have to have the lightsaber fight because it is part of the formula, and we have to, like make it bigger than last time, and we have to go to a new planet because we have to go to a new planet. Like stuff like that, I do think is important to Star Wars, but it's not the most important thing. And Rebels, like this pilot, just puts that aside and is just like, how do we tell the best story with these characters? And that's always like first and foremost. It's always about the characters. Spectacle is like secondary.
It's believable. It's believable that this character who's like looking out for himself and trying to survive is gonna see an opportunity to steal a ship and then do that. And then like, it's believable that these other characters would be like, all right, just come. Just every step of the way, it's like, okay, I get it. I get how the story is unfolding, and I get how, like, in this universe, these things would happen. And that's, like, a really beautiful universe to buy into, as a universe where things like this happen. I love all the, the animation of the characters.
Yeah, it's so fluid.
It is. It's very expressive.
It looks like painted too at like one point.
Yeah.
I think so. From what I remember, and this is just a side note, because I think it's also worth mentioning that Rebels looks drastically different from Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I know what George wanted to do with Clone Wars was have the characters look like the old TV show Thunderbirds, which most people don't know what that is, but you do know Team America. Yeah, Team America by the South Park creators, like marionettes that were like hand painted. That was basically what the idea was with Clone Wars. Now, I understand, I believe in this. Dave Filoni said we should make them look like the Kenner action figures. And that's what was their inspiration. All the characters look like the toys from the 70s.
Yeah, they're so flat.
Yeah, that was the idea of the show.
Put that together.
I just
really
love
cool.
like their faces and how like you can see the freckles on their faces.
Yeah, I really like that. Yeah.
I love that. And I just find their eyes to be like
they're so expressive.
Super expressive.
Jess, did you want to kill Zeb, our favorite purple?
No, because I knew he was good.
Get out of the way!
I'm trying!
Sorry, kid! You did good.
And I love that too. I loved like how this character is just like, he's like a hard ass or whatever. And seeing his whole character development throughout it and like
trying to find a way to deal with the kid.
God, it was so like humanizing. He's not human.
He goes from like pushing him back and then like letting him get captured and ditching him to then at the end like punching him, like joking around and like wishing he could stay.
And just
because he like Ezra was mentioned like, oh, like don't worry, like I won't be here anymore or whatever. And then
he was like sad.
He like expression completely changed from being happy to like Ezra grew on him.
And it's also interesting. Like it's interesting having a character like who's against him, and it makes sense that there would be someone who's like that. And
Jordan, what was your favorite part through the whole thing?
I mean, I guess it's kind of cliche, but like the reveal that like Kanan's a Jedi, definitely the moment I got the most emotional.
22 pickup? Care to let me in on the secret?
Kid, I'm about to let everyone in on the secret.
Yeah,
22 pickup.
Yeah, 22 Jump Street.
And I was so like in the mindset of Ezra. I was like, well, what does that mean? But I guess we're gonna find out. And then when he takes his lightsaber out, I'm like, oh my god.
No. He's focusing on the Force and dodging all the bullets. That's when I was like,
yes. And all the bullets are going by, and then the evil people are also like, what the fuck?
They stopped shooting.
It was so good.
Kill the Jedi. And we kind of learned that like Kanan holds back. Like it's not all the time. He's like using the Force and jumping around, swinging his lightsaber. It's only like in certain instances
so
where
much
they're really
more effective.
Fucked.
When we think about like how to tell like a Jedi story post Revenge of the Sith, post Order 66, like how do we approach like telling a story about a character like that? That's not what we've seen already. Like this just seems like Kanan seems just like the perfect like in for like a story like this. It's like he's just so like all the Jedi stuff. It's like he doesn't want to talk about it, and then just like the ending with him just like playing Obi-Wan's like final message again. I just thought
and
it was
like
so
meditating and like trying to connect to like what do I do?
It just seems like so like real, and also it's just I said it before, and it's one reason I was always excited to like get to this critical point in time, like marathoning all the stuff. This is like both it's really a follow-up to everything. It's like this feels like such like a natural conclusion to like everything that we've been doing already. Like the fact that it's so tied to Revenge of the Sith, that moment, and then also like there's so much in common with these new characters with Solo too. It just feels like really like. And Jordan, you said you thought about like the Yoda arc,
yeah. I thought about Solo. I thought about Yoda arc, Revenge of the Sith,
well, like,
everything.
Yeah, and it's like even though we like all know what happens, the storytelling like the whole way through is not even just with these episodes. Like everything we've seen up to this point is so good because you really are like right with them and like not with like a bird's eye all-knowing view, but like my emotional feeling coming into this is like I'm like jaded about the Jedi.
Right.
I'm like, oh God, like why, like they're so, what's the point? You know, like fuck this, it's too flawed. But then when you see this character who's a Jedi, you're like, okay, like yes, like this is what I want a Jedi to be. And like, this is the promise of the Jedi. And this is like why this is something that we care about. And that's good.
Maybe that's why Kanan's like the best Jedi, because he's like truly at heart a Jedi than like what we've seen like in the show, because we've just seen them being like warriors and generals and stuff in a war.
But it's tough because, I mean, Kanan he's not a warrior per se right now, but, you know, he does lead a life of violence in some way. And I think we'll see like...
But he's like an actual
self-defense
person. He's not like this, like...
No.
Jedi is a side job for him.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Jedi, like, yeah, it's like a religion, like, can't be your entire life.
Exactly.
Like, you can have that to just enhance you as, like, a person.
Yeah.
And make you, like, a better person.
This is Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. I regret to report that both our Jedi Order and the Republic have fallen, with the dark shadow of the Empire rising to take their place. This message is a warning and a reminder for any surviving Jedi. Trust in the Force.
So cool.
Hearing him like reference A New Hope, like seamlessly, was just made me cry.
Yeah, that was great.
And it just gives a direction. This whole trajectory is like, it's making sense.
It was just a huge Obi-Wan moment, but at the same time, it was just a huge Kanan moment. Because you can see like him meditating and focusing on that message, and what does it mean for the future of him and Ezra.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It was like Kanan, like, you lose everything, and then you just have the promise of this one guy saying, like, listen, like, you gotta get as far away from here as possible, but trust me, like, things are going to get better.
Do you think Kanan thinks maybe Ezra is the New Hope that everyone's talking about?
I don't.
Because he probably has no idea about Luke
I
or
don't
anything.
think so.
I mean, I will absolutely. Kanan has no idea. I mean, Kanan doesn't even know Obi-Wan Kenobi, like,
I don't
barely.
think he thinks there's a literal new hope. I think it's just an idea.
Person. It's just like keep going and things will get better.
Yeah, that's got to be so hard. It's just like after losing all that and just like you just have this one promise and you have to listen to it over and over again, just saying things will get better eventually. I'm sorry.
That's not really all you have, because what Obi-Wan says is you have to tap into the Force. Let the Force be your guide. So I love that message because that's true. Like when life is total shit, all you can do is tap into spirituality and tap into that faith and that connection to the life force and to the universe. And that's where your strength comes from. And that's like how the Jedi are going to become like what there should be. Another awesome moment, and this was like a course correcting moment I feel that they did, when he gets off the ship, goes back to his home, which was super a cool like little home that he set up for himself. Kanan is right behind him and is like, I'm giving you a choice. And I was like, yes, the Jedi are learning because he's not
gonna just
he's not just like, all right, you're with me now. Like, this is your life now. It's like, here's a choice.
You can keep the lightsaber you stole, let it become just another dusty souvenir, or you can give it back and come with us. Come with me and be trained in the ways of the Force. You can learn what it truly means to be a Jedi.
I thought the Empire wiped out all the Jedi.
Not all of us.
It wasn't just all like a little pretense. Like they really did like respect his personal autonomy instead of just like, oh, you're the chosen one. Like, come on, like be my apprentice. Like,
come if you want. I'll do the best. You know, we'll do the best we can. I'm gonna do the best I can. It's your choice to do the best what you want to do. Jessica, so we've all seen the show. We all know where it goes eventually. What would you like to see? What's your big, broad open horizon for Star Wars Rebels? Like, what are you excited to learn more about while we continue to watch this show?
I want to see more of like the main story like develop within this, but in a way that feels organic and not like forced. But I also just love seeing like how the Empire is getting like fucked over, and I want to see other rebels and how like everyone in big ways and small is like normal people are rebelling against the Empire. And I would love to see some of the Empire rebel against the Empire, you know, like one of the like bad guys like turn against them. But I feel like that's like a pipe dream. But I also just want to see the characters develop.
What did you think of like in your brain, were you like trying to fill in the blanks of like where Ezra came from, like what happened to him?
I mean, I love his character because I feel like he's Jewish. His name is Ezra, which is a super Jewish name, and he's a big nose. And it's just like, you know, if you guys saw a character that was like Hispanic looking and his name was Carlos, you'd be like, oh my God, he's a Hispanic character.
Yeah,
you know?
I can't wait to get to Cassian Andor.
Just everything. It's like, wow, this is such a interesting cast with so many like stories to tell, and that whole like world that he grows up on, I feel is cool. And like there were some real like Aladdin vibes. Like,
people would compare it to
it worked. It wasn't like, I guess it was a little cheesy, but I think he was a super cool character, and it also goes to show how like in order to be a rebel, you kind of have to like have like nothing. That's how people get into this lifestyle, is not because they're so heroic and perfect and better than all of us. It's because they don't have like a family. They don't have comfort.
We're so familiar with, you know, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, all raised in the exact same home, essentially. And like you were saying, they all have different stories to tell. Like It's not like they all like grew up together. It's like they all grew up separately, and now we can explore that differently.
Exactly. There's like a lot of like interest that's made by just the design and the attitudes of these characters of like, how did you all get here?
I remember when I watched season 1 of Rebels, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that was pretty good. But I never really was like, I never felt driven to go like continue it. And so Yates watched the second season as it was airing without me. And then I remember just like hearing constantly like the season 2 finale is like the biggest thing in Star Wars. And I was just like, all right. And then I finally got to it, and I was like, wow, I can't believe you kept this a secret from me, because it's so crazy.
There are so many great moments throughout the show. Not just the big, like, I mean, there's so many amazing big stuff, but there's also so many great smaller character moments. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
My favorite is
not even my favorite episode.
Zeb in the cave in season 2. That's my fucking jam. That's when I just like burst out crying, and I was like, I knew like this show was like gonna be the best Star Wars thing for a long time.
Don't the characters feel like so seamless within the world?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just so like
they belong there.
They're different, like, and they're new and exciting, but it's like, so you're right. It's like, so like, of course these characters are here. Like, what else? Of course they're here.
And what are we still doing recording?
Let's watch some more. All that and more ahead for Star Wars Rebels. My name's Yates.
My name is Jordan.
My name is Jessica.
My name is Keats.
And Obi-Wan would tell you to trust in the Force always.